Good afternoon, and welcome to Lunch and Learn Travel Edition. My name is Dadra Driscoll, and I am a silver consultant with Evolution Travel, as well as an IATAN accredited agent. Today's training is on earning your IATAN, so I encourage you to take notes. Utilize the chat box. We will answer questions after we finish the presentation. But this is an important question that I get asked a lot. There's a lot of questions people want to know. How do I do it? What does it require? How long does it take? So we're going to cover some things that will help you set out and create a plan for you to receive your IATAN card. First thing we're going to talk about is the IATAN requirements and benefits. Basically, in order for you to receive what is often referred to as quote unquote like the black card in travel, it's one of the highest distinctions you can receive as a travel agent, your IATAN card, you have to have earned at least $5,000 in paid out commission within a 12-month period. And that amount is verified by Archer Travel. So it's not how much you've booked, it's how much you've received. So often we get excited if we book a big trip. The IATAN distinction and accreditation is based on what is paid out. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later. You do, of course, have to be an active EVO agent, and then you will receive a letter like this one, the green and white one you see, and they'll give you instructions so that you can order your card. There is a small fee associated with the ordering of the card, but once you get that distinction, you'll be super excited and you'll want to take care of it anyway. So when you order your card, you're going to also have a photo that you need to upload, and then you'll receive your card that way. So let's continue on. Let's talk first about understanding commissions, because our structure here at Evolution Travel allows us to get 80% commission as well as 10% commission. We get 80% commission on the travel that we book. We also want to note that we get a 10% commission if you're a sponsoring agent when your teammates book something. So the first thing we're going to note here, I have an example. I just took a screenshot of a particular quote, and the commission on the trip was $568.02. So if you're the PTA booking the trip, you'll calculate your commission by multiplying that by 0.80. So this particular trip would have a commission of $454.42. If this was a trip booked by someone on your team, you as the sponsor would get 10%. So that would be $56.80. So again, now that seems like a simple calculation. Many of you are like, oh, I already knew that. It's simple. But I wanted to cover that first because some people are confused about how commission is calculated. It is not off of the total price of the trip. It is calculated off of the commission portion only. So again, whatever the commission is for your particular trip, you're going to multiply that by 0.80 to get an estimate of what your particular commission is. And if you're, know what your teammates are booking, you can estimate the 10%. Usually the 10% is a surprise because I don't know what my team is booking. I know they're booking, but I don't get that far into their business where I ask them exactly how much was the commission. But when you're a sponsoring agent, you will get 10% of what your teammates book. So we're going to be talking about creating record keeping and spreadsheets. So I wanted to go over this part first so that when we start talking about your commission structure, you will understand how to do that calculation. And it varies. Again, whatever the particular trip is, this was just a quote that I took out of VAX. But again, any vendor is going to have a particular amount of commission that they indicate they're going to pay you. And you can estimate how much of that commission is going to come back to you by using a simple calculation like this. As the PTA, you're going to get 80%. As the sponsor, you're going to get 10%. So let's continue talking about understanding commissions. Hang on one quick second. So you want to note that commission comes into Archer Travel approximately 4 to 6 weeks after the travel occurs. So again, so if you book a trip for someone and they're traveling in March, after that travel is over, that particular vendor has to process the commission and send it to Archer Travel. So that can take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks in general to get to Archer Travel. Now, this exception to that is the independent travel insurance, which is processed after the policy is purchased. But again, when you're planning and making plans for when you will receive commission, you want to be realistic. So if they travel today, don't expect your commission payout on Friday and say, oh, well, the trip is over, I need my commission. It's going to be contingent upon how long it takes that particular vendor to send your commission over to Archer Travel. Now, please note, some vendors are quick, some take a little bit longer. But again, we have to pay attention to the fact that when you're trying to earn your IATAN, it's based on the commission that has been paid out to you. So just note that so that you're not putting undue pressure on yourself and you're not putting pressure on Archer Travel and bugging them about where is my commission. Give it time because again, after the trip occurs, that particular vendor has to process the commission first. They're going to send it to Archer Travel. Then once Archer Travel receives it, they need processing time. So generally, depending upon when they receive it, they're going to schedule it for the next appropriate commission payout. So we get paid commission twice a month here at Evolution Travel. Yes, we love the pings. Commission is paid out on the 15th and the last day of the month. So again, depending upon when your commission arrives at Archer, they'll schedule it to come to your card. So, it's not an exact science. It may be 4 weeks for some vendors. It may be 6 weeks for other vendors. I had one vendor that took over 90 days, unfortunately. So it's going to really just depend on the vendor, how long it takes to get to you. And I also want you to note that only commission that's processed by Archer Travel counts towards your total. So if you're booking things like Evo rewards and adding in your own commission, or Advantage Direct and adding in your own commission, those amounts do not count toward your IATAN calculation. So again, it's only commission that comes in and is processed through Archer Travel. So let's continue. I want to talk to you about keeping good records. Even if you're not trying to get your IATAN, this is a good practice, but I'm going to give you a sample of the spreadsheet I created for myself. I've changed the names just, so I don't tell anybody's business exactly. But you want to keep a chronological record. Again, your IATAN calculation is based on earnings within a 12-month period. So you want to be able to note by date. So when you're setting up your particular spreadsheet, again, it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but you do want to have a date field so that you can pay attention to when you receive commission payout and also when the travel is going to occur so you can estimate when you're going to receive commission payout. So here's an example of a spreadsheet that I created. I added in formulas so that as I just go in and add trips as I book them, it would calculate for me. So your estimate of 80% just allows you to help with planning, because as you are getting closer, especially, you really start paying attention to how much it is, how far away from that $5,000 threshold you are. So you want to note the travel date. You also want to note the date that the commission is paid out to you, because that way you can always check what is falling within a 12-month period. If you haven't been keeping record up until this point and you're like, oh my God, I don't know, I'm going to show you in just a moment how you can go back and fix that and create your spreadsheet. But again, it's based on a 12-month window. So for instance, I earned my IATAN in October, or September, actually, I think September. So it was from September to September in that period of time that I earned at least $5,000 in travel commissions. So for you that are just getting started, you say, well, I don't have a spreadsheet, go and create one. And I'm going to show you in just a moment how to do that. But note all of the commissions you receive and the date that you receive them. And then when you create that running total, it's going to show you how much, how much you've earned up into a certain point. So let's keep going. Before I move on, I noted here that you should note the travel date so you can estimate the payment window. As I mentioned, most vendors pay out anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks after the travel occurs. So as you can see here, this was travel that basically took place in February and March of last year. So, I booked it previous. So some of that was actually booked in 2017, but these were trips that actually took place in February and March of 2018. But if you look at the date received column, you'll see I got paid out on those in March and April. So that just gives you that idea of knowing once the trip occurs, you get paid based on whenever the vendor sends the money to Archer Travel. So I wanted you to note that as well. So for instance, the trip that took place on March 2nd, I got paid on April 30th. A trip that took place on February 9th, I got paid on April 13th. So again, it just depends on the vendor, and you have to be patient with your vendors and patient with Archer Travel. It will come. Now, let's talk about getting this information and creating your spreadsheet. Keeping good records is important. So when you book a trip, you want to make sure that you're going into your back office and creating your commission tracking form. So when you go to your Evo travel agent website, there on the sidebar, it's going to show you where you submit your commission tracking form. Do that timely. Don't put it off. You don't want to forget to submit it, because if commission comes in and you never submitted the commission tracking form and you don't get paid, you can't be upset with Archer. They had no way of knowing if you did not submit your commission tracking form. So make sure that all of the paperwork is submitted in a timely fashion. Then there's also a submitted commission and a paid commission section there that will help you build your spreadsheet. So I did a screenshot from a paid commission section. Again, I changed the names to help protect the innocent. But in your back office, there is a spreadsheet for you, and it's going to show you the date that they paid you. It's going to give you something based on the itinerary that's going to be tied into whatever you typed into your initial commission tracking form. It's going to show you the amount that you were paid and the name. So this will help you match it up to the commission tracking forms that you submitted. So when you're looking at this, I want you to note also there in itinerary column at the bottom, it also will show you when you're receiving 10% from your partners, and it will show you their agent number. So here it says I received 10% from 36858. So since I know which one of my partners that number corresponds to, I know who to congratulate and thank for that $3.48. Now, again, I'm not upset about $3.48 because I know that my partner got their first commission in this case. That was their first commission as an agent. That particular partner had joined me in January of last year, and they got their first commission payout in May. They were super excited. I was super excited. But again, you can use this information to build your spreadsheet. You can use the submitted commission area to build your spreadsheet, because if you've already submitted some before you started creating your spreadsheet, you can go back in and just copy the information down for what you submitted. Then, as I mentioned before, generally it takes 4 to 6 weeks for commission to come through. If you're expecting a commission and it hasn't been received, give it up to 90 days just in case it's being processed before you inquire with Archer. Again, it just takes time. So I've had some that came in right at that 6-week mark. I did have, like I said, one particular vendor that took over 90 days, and I ended up having to work with Archer Travel to check back with the vendor, had the vendor search for it. They hadn't sent it when they should have or something. And so I did eventually get paid for it. But again, you want to pay attention to that. So I hope this is helpful in getting your spreadsheet created and keeping your records. So as I mentioned, when you go to the agent side of your Evo Travel Agent website, there is a submitted commission section as well as a paid commission section, and you can use that valuable information to build your spreadsheet and keep good records. So that $5,000 that goes towards your IATAN amount is only the amount of commission that is paid to you. So I'm going to go back really quick here where I indicated how much was paid to me. Only the amount that's paid to you is what counts towards your individual IATAN calculation. So you want to keep that in mind as well. So now let's talk about strategic travel booking, because it's important that when you're booking travel, you be smart about it. We are travel agents and we're here to make money. So this next section of what I'm going to talk about is not for the faint of heart. If you're a brand new travel agent and you are overwhelmed with how do I know whether or not to use Expedia or Vax, what I'm about to talk about may be a little heavy for you, and it might not be your next step. It may be something you plan down the road. But once you begin booking and you start understanding how the various vendors work, what they pay out, then you're going to want to be strategic if you have a monetary goal. Now, this isn't just for IATAN. It could also be if there's a certain amount of money that you want to make per month. Because when you're choosing a vendor, you want to consider what their respective commission payout is. And then when it's possible, choose the vendor that you can earn the most money from. If you're going to be booking a rental car and it's the exact same car and basically the exact same price, why not book it with the vendor that's going to give you the most money for the booking? It's just common sense there. But for some people, they don't even know that, so it's kind of overwhelming. So we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to pause here and actually go online. So if you give me one moment, I'm going to come over here. So as we can see here, I've got Expedia Tap pulled up because it's one of the most popular sites that we use and that people always have questions. I mean, in our Q&A, at least 2 to 3 times a week, someone is asking about how do I know about my commission in Expedia Tap? So there are a couple different ways, but we're going to look here. If you click on the menu under Help, they have a very nice little section that if we scroll down here on commission, where they show you all of the standard commission levels. If you're booking a package with them, so that means if you're bundling flight, hotel and car, things of that nature, if it is a minimum of 3 hotel nights, they will pay you 5%. If it's less than 3 hotel nights, they're going to pay you 3%. So when you do that bundle and you're trying to figure out how much you're going to get paid, it's going to be either 5 or 3%. On car rentals, they pay 6%. They have a tiered hotel commission structure. So if it's basic to premium plus, you can earn anywhere from 3.5 up to 11% on hotels. If you're booking activities and attractions, it's 10%. This is standard. It's just how Expedia Tap pays travel agents. So when you make a booking with them, you can know upfront. You don't have to wait until the next day when the spreadsheet updates and all of that. You can know when you choose to book with them what the commission is. So for instance, I mentioned if you can get paid more booking with someone else, why not book with someone else? So I'm going to come over here and look at a sample. So I pulled this up earlier just for the sake of time. This is for a hotel in Atlanta. I searched the Hilton brand just for the sake of this example. So if we're looking here, it gave me a list of all these different Hilton brand properties that are available. But if you note at the top of each listing in this black Expedia tab toolbar, there's this little orange circle with a line. This is going to tell you what the tiers are for commission. So the Home to Suites is a basic tier. If you hover over it, it's going to tell you basic commission tier, 5%. So if we were to book this particular hotel, you're going to get 5% commission for booking it. Here we have the Hilton Atlanta Northeast. It is a basic plus commission tier hotel, 8.5% commission. Hilton Garden Inn, basic tier. So again, if we were going to book these, so I'm going to click here. Let's see, we've got the DoubleTree, 5%. Let's click on the DoubleTree. Now, the DoubleTree is a wonderful property. But if you look here and we were to book this particular property, we're going to give the internet a second to let me be great, hopefully. As we go through, Expedia is going to show you an example. Okay, maybe it won't let me be great today. So let me come back and try another one. Let's try, okay, the Hilton Garden Inn. Maybe this will come up. All right, so when we come down on here and we start looking, okay, when you look at a booking, it will show you, says show commission. So say we book this particular room, we click show commission. It shows you that on this particular room, the commission estimate is $30.86. The total booking estimate is $617. So again, remember, this is a basic tier, so it's 5%. You know, $30 in commission, not bad. However, I happen to also know that when you are registered as a Hilton travel agent, Hilton will pay up to 10% commission on their brands. So if I was trying to decide whether or not to book the DoubleTree through Hilton or book the DoubleTree or the Hilton Garden Inn through Expedia Tap, I may decide to book it directly through Hilton if I'm doing hotel only, because I'm going to get twice as much commission. This is a 5% commission payout, remember, and Hilton could pay me 10%. So I just wanted to show you that, because again, it just depends on the vendors. If you're trying to determine which vendor is going to be the best vendor for you to book with, then you want to be smart about it. You want to choose the vendors that are going to give you the highest commission payout, because again, your goal is to make money. Now, that was just an example on a hotel. That same principle applies across lots of different properties. Certain vendors pay a certain percentage, and you don't want to unnecessarily cut yourself short when it comes to commission, when you could have booked it in a way that would give you a higher price point when it comes to commission. Another clear one with that is with rental cars often. As we noted there, Expedia pays 6%. Many of the rental car companies will pay you 10% if you book it as a travel agent through their travel agent portal. But again, this is something that's kind of like next level strategic booking. You've got to know what you're doing. So if you're still struggling, just trying to figure out how to log on Expedia Tap, let's save this nugget for you a little bit later once you're more comfortable. But for those of you who are more seasoned bookers and you know how to navigate between the various vendors, any vendor that you book, if you either go to their FAQ section or they'll have a commission section, they will tell you how much they pay out in commission. And then that way you can make an informed decision. For instance, when it comes to booking vacation packages, quite often I will use a VAX vendor that will allow me to increase the commission. If I've got room in the client's budget and I can still give them a fair price, but also increase the commission, I will do that. Certain vendors allow you to do that. Not all of them do. And so you got to educate yourself about the vendors that you use or about other vendors to possibly use so that you put yourself in the best commission earning posture available. So that brings me to my next point. Do you have the posture to upsell your clients? And I put there, be honest with yourself. And the reason I'm saying be honest with yourself is because around evolution in our culture, you're going to hear that phrase about posture weekly, depending on who your leaders are, daily. Posture is everything. If you are afraid to ask the client for money, then this is going to be challenging for you. When I'm talking to a client, I want them to have the greatest experience possible. I tell them, I don't even book 2-star and 1-star and the flea trap in. I don't even quote those. I don't book those because I don't give that kind of experience to my clients. And so if my client is going hemming and hawing about budget and they don't have enough money, then I'm going to take the posture to discuss what is the right trip for them, because it's more important that they have a great experience at whatever price point it may be, so that when they come back, they're going on and on about how amazing it was, and then they want to book again. So does that mean that we need to add some excursions in, perhaps? Give them something to do other than just be at the hotel? Or recommend that they purchase travel insurance because they're making a big investment and they need to protect themselves? It takes a posture to be able to say those kinds of things to people, and they are going to be responsive to your lead. If you're sounding timid and afraid and apologetic for the price, they're going to go with that. I always offer the top price first, and then I can move it down if I need to. But if you offer them the lowest price first, it's going to be really difficult to move the price up. So when you're talking to your clients, you want to pay attention to that and be honest with yourself about your posture. If your posture isn't there yet, then that's an assignment for you to get it there so that you're not afraid to ask for the trip. Often when I look at comments and questions, I can tell where a person is. If I'm talking to someone, I can tell how confident they are about their knowledge, as well as how confident they are about what they're going to offer to their client, because it rings through. If you think it's too much for a trip, your client's going to think it's too much for a trip. I have some clients that are some of my VIP clients. They travel in a certain manner. They only fly first class. They want butler suites and all of those things. That is on my bucket list, or not bucket list, it's just on my plans in life where I want to get on that level where I only fly first class. But they do. So they know what first class flights cost. So when I tell them that the flight they want is going to be $1,200 per person, they don't think anything of it because that's what they expect. But for me, if I'm breathing all hard and I'm nervous about telling them that the trip is going to be $10,000 for them, they're going to feed off of that. And you don't want that to be the case. You want to make sure that when you are talking to your client, that your posture is appropriate for the travel that you're selling and the travel that you're booking. I have not yet booked a $10,000 vacation for myself personally, but I have for my clients, and I act like it's what I do every day when I talk to them, because again, it's all about posture. Now, let's talk about another strategic travel booking tool: independent travel insurance. It is a money maker. So again, our goal is to get to $5,000. So we want to book where we can. Now, I am not being paid by AIG. I just happen to use them as an example because I use them as a vendor. So when you book a trip, just about all of our vendors give you the option to click a button and book travel insurance through them. It's an extra option. And that's great. So when you book that into the trip balance, you're going to get a commission payout when the trip takes place. In general, most of the companies may give you about 10%. So, that's great. It's better than nothing. It's something extra. Every penny is going to get you to where you're going. However, I began booking separate travel insurance for a couple of different reasons. Usually when you add it in, it may affect the deposit price, And again, it's about 10% or so generally that you may see as a difference in your total. With AIG, for instance, depending upon the type of policy that you book through them, you can get anywhere from 21 to 37% paid out in insurance. So again, 10%, 21% to 37%. So what do? I quote all of my clients when I'm quoting travel insurance, a platinum AIG travel guard policy. Because if they say yes to it, I'm going to get 37% off of the price of that travel insurance instead of just 10%. Every penny counts. We're working on a goal. We want to reach a certain amount of money. So you want to pay attention to things like that. Now, again, selling travel insurance, it's a posture thing. I don't talk about travel insurance like it's optional. I talk about it like it's vital, because if something happens and you're where you are and you need medical attention or you need to be air back to the States, how is that going to happen if you didn't purchase this insurance? Most insurances that people have personally are not going to cover them in another country. There have been several news stories just recently over the last year about American travelers in other places who got hurt and got stranded, had GoFundMe accounts and all sorts of things trying to fix a situation that, had they purchased a good travel insurance policy up front for a minimal amount of money, they would have been covered. But again, selling travel insurance is about posture. So you want to make sure that you understand the value of it so that you can convey it to your client without sounding as if, I don't know if you want to pay extra. No, you're presenting it as in this is exactly what they should do because it's exactly what they should do. So again, with this particular policy, this is an independent travel insurance policy. This is not the insurance that you just click an extra box inside the booking. With AIG in particular, you are able to book travel insurance up to 14 days after the initial trip was booked and get full benefits. So they are one of our vendors that we're able to use, and you can register with them as a travel agent. I actually did an entire lunch and learn about AIG Travel Guard Insurance. So for those of you who want information on that, you can go back and watch that particular video of that training. But I just use this as an example because we're talking about strategic travel booking. If I click that button inside of the vendor, like if I click it at Expedia or Vax or whatever, they're going to add in an insurance calculation. I even do it on cruises because, again, I want to give my clients a solid policy, and I also want to make sure I make money. So you've got to be prepared, though, because these policies are priced a little bit different. But again, the client doesn't know how much the insurance policy was inside of the vendor versus this one. They only know what you tell them. So again, I start with the platinum. I send them over the list of benefits from the platinum that I got from my AIG toolbox, and I go over how appropriate and wonderful this is for them. So if they think it's, too much, I can back down to the gold policy. So if needed, I could go to the silver policy. But again, I always start with the platinum policy because when I'm telling them about all of the things that it's included and why they need it, and I'm nodding and saying yes, and yes is in my voice, they tend to, I've only had one person want a lesser policy. Everyone that I offer the platinum to that understands the value of travel insurance just pays for it. And then as I noted, you're going to get 37% paid out, and then you'll get 80% of that instead of 80% of 10%. So again, I just note that the other thing about travel insurance is with travel insurance as a product, you don't have to wait until the trip occurs. Travel insurance pays out based upon the policy issue date. So if your client is going to be traveling in February of 2020 and you book them now and you purchase an insurance policy for them now, The commission on the travel insurance is going to be paid out 4 to 6 weeks after today, as opposed to 4 to 6 weeks after February of 2020. Now, I'm mentioning this because, again, we're talking about strategic travel booking. When you're calculating how much money you need and when you need it by in order to get within that 12-month window, this can be a quick and easy way to get those extra few dollars that you need to reach that $5,000 threshold. So let's also talk about strategic travel booking. You market for the type of trips that produce the type of commission you want to earn. There are a lot of different ways to get to 5,000. You can book one trip that pays out over 5,000 in commission. You can book 5 trips that pay out $1,000 each. You can, again, it just depends on how you're going to get there. Not everybody has a group booking audience. So maybe you're going to have to take it with more individual trips because you don't have one big trip to earn it. So you want to pay attention. Also, you want to note, are you booking long-term travel or travel that's going to take place 6 months or more in the future, or last-minute bookings? Because again, this can impact your totals. I remember for me, when I first got started, I booked multiple trips that were going to be taking place the following year. So I was excited because I was actively booking, but I wasn't earning any commission in my pocket at the moment. So I had to keep myself encouraged, keep myself active and excited, because I knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. There was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But month to month, when everyone else was getting their ping, I wasn't getting one because the trips I had booked were in the future. And that was okay because I understood that. But again, we always want a little something. So you may want to mix it and do last minute bookings that you're going to get paid, and give yourself time to create a cycle of booking where you start earning commission every month. Because again, I started looking at those travel dates in my spreadsheet and realized I had some months where I didn't have anyone traveling. So I set a goal that I wanted someone traveling every month so that eventually, as that cycle worked, I would start earning commission every month. So all of these are things you start paying attention to when you're being strategic about your travel booking. So periodically, I'll throw out last minute bookings and say, hey, don't you want to go here next month? Don't you want to go here this weekend? I throw things out there because I want to keep an active booking cycle. Noting if you are the type of person who doesn't book group trips, or you've not booked a group trip yet, you may want to consider booking a group trip because it is a way to get larger commission all at once. But again, you just have to be strategic and market to the types of groups that you want. We have some agents who only do groups, and they may do 2 or 3 big groups a year, and that's enough to cover them for the whole year. We have some people, again, who need money coming in every month. So then you have to book and have clients traveling every month so that eventually you start earning commission every month. It's important that you pay attention to these things because that's going to help you be strategic about reaching that goal. It's also going to help you see that number increase as your bottom line. Because remember, every penny counts. I showed you where I got like $3 and some change from one of my partners. Guess what? That was $3 that got me $3 closer to my goal. So don't begrudge the lower bookings. If you're a high-end booker, you may not want to do any car rentals for the weekend and get $5 or $6. But again, every penny counts. So I don't mind doing those bookings. That's not what the bulk of my travel is, but I do them if someone wants it because I want to keep them coming back to me. So as we note that, you want to pay attention to how you're marketing. What types of trips are you promoting? The general public does not know how much commission we're earning on a trip. Throw out some of those big ticket trips as a feeler. You never know. There may be people in your particular circle who've been dreaming about going on safari in Africa. They just didn't know how to go about it. And when they see you post that you can book that kind of trip for them, they'll reach out to you. Honeymoons. I pay attention to those things that pop across my timeline when people are just talking among themselves, or, oh, look, I got the ring. I was scoping people out after Valentine's Day. And then I reached out to them and say, hey, if you need help planning your honeymoon, have you considered a destination wedding? Things like that. Be strategic in how you market at certain times of the year. Valentine's Day, Christmas, those are times when a lot of people get engaged. So those are great times to promote those kinds of bookings. When it comes down to the spring and summer, when people are getting married, all these people are thinking about weddings and honeymoons and things. Those are great times to talk about those kinds of trips. Spring break, holiday travel, all of those are ways that you can strategically market toward your goals. But once you create that running spreadsheet, you'll always know where you are. You'll know how far away. So for me, last year when I was going toward it, I told my team that based on what I saw, I thought that I was not going to hit that mark until like November. But I actually ended up hitting it earlier because, one, I had a couple trips that paid out a little bit sooner. But two, I also got some extra 10% from some of my teammates. And I was really excited because they helped me get there a couple weeks sooner. But I also knew when I was a little bit off, I started promoting last minute travel. And I booked a couple extra cruises to get that extra $200 or so that I needed. Some people who just needed a quick getaway. It wasn't a fancy cruise. It was just a weekend cruise, but it gave me a little extra money to get me to that total. So again, you want to use all of these tools to help you be strategic and informed. Because at first, the idea of becoming an IATAN cardholder was just a nice idea. I did not know dollars and cents wise how far away or close I was to it until I created that spreadsheet, threw that formula in there to total it up for me so I could see, oh, you're $1,200 away. Oh, you're $500 away, and things of that nature. So it also increased the excitement. So for those of you that are travel bookers, you often hear and see posted the challenges to people who are team builders. This also allows you to create that same kind of excitement for those who are on your team who are travel bookers. Because once our team found out how close I was to getting my IATAN card, they also encouraged me to book more. And so when I started throwing up those last minute bookings and saying, hey, don't you want to get away this weekend? Wouldn't you like to go here next week? They knew what I was doing and they helped encourage me as well. And when I see my teammates doing it, I understand what they're doing and I can encourage them as well. Our company has a place for you. So if you are a travel booker, these are great milestones to reach. It's something you're going to want to do that post, celebrate yourself, tell people that, hey, I'm in the top commission earners among travel agents in the world. That's a selling point. More people will want to book with you when you can show those kinds of credentials and back it up. So with that being said, that brings us to the end of our Lunch and Learn training. We try to keep all of these trainings under an hour so those of you that are on your lunch break can take advantage of them. So for the sake of our video, I'm going to stop the video now and then I'll actually take questions. So we do this training the last Thursday of every month at noon. So we thank you for taking time out from your lunch to join us for our Lunch and Learn training.